Okay, we done stripped the chassis down and obliterated everything in there. We got the dial off and cleaned up. Um, and one of the other issues was the antenna input, where the little plug goes into the chassis, gets picked up and sent to the antenna coil. Well, when I turned it over and got to extracting a lot of the stuff in here so that I could get it to a point to where I could start cleaning the chassis up for a finish, I noticed that one of the pins was out of the phenolic board, and that might have been one of the reasons why it wasn't picking up anything. But I could be wrong. So I took some of my printed circuit board stock and cut me a couple of wafers so that I could put them together and get these pin sockets rearranged into this so that I could put this thing back in there. I'll have to find something to rivet it in with. I think I have rivet stuff. It's just not that good, but it might do in a pinch. But we'll see how that works out. But anyway, the thing does work. I've put the socket portion, the pin portion of the socket. You know what I mean. So anyway, and we got this extracted, and it's as grody as the other one was. We're going to separate everything out, and yeah, and get it cleaned up. We got the tone contacts separated from everything else and cleaned up in the dip, and we're going to be moving to that eventually. The switch, it's a little ugly and a bit tight, so we're going to pull it apart and clean it up. And then miscellaneous stuff like the lamp holders and the switch holder and the dial drum, and then the tuner condenser we got cleaned up and lubricated. So now we're going to move on to getting the chassis in a bath and scrubbed and get it prepped for refinishing. But before that happens, we're going to do a search and destroy on all these paper caps and electrolytics and get them all situated away, get all this wiring to the radio organ controls, get them extracted out of there and ready for when we need to put new wiring in it for the controls. So stand by, there'll be more to come. All right, the chassis has been scrub-a-dub-dubbed and is in the dryer now, getting dry. Actually, it's out on the fence post, being warmed by the sun and dried by the sun. So we're going to go ahead and get the push button assembly tested, the coils on it, to see if they're all viable, and then we'll clean up the contacts in here with a little scrub from some magic powder, and then we're going to use a fine emery cloth sandwiched in between the contacts and get them cleaned. So all this push button assembly is just trimmers and more trimmers connected in with the each of these coils are connected, and they operate within a certain broadcast range. And this upper bus line right here connects to one side of each of these coils, and the other end of the coil connects to this bus line, which is all tied together, and it's switched in and out of with each button press. So this one here would lock in this one and hook this into the regular pickup system, and when you operated that one, it would pop this one out, taking that out of circuit and entering this coil into circuit. And so all you need to do to check it is put your meter on sound continuity, and hook one side to this bus line, and then touch each of these, and that's just the shortcut. That way you don't have to worry about checking each one as they go into either. If you get a tone, well, then you know that the coil is sound, and it will do what it's supposed to do, provided you go in there and you make the adjustments to each of these trimmers. The posts are the oscillator, and the nuts are the antenna. And that's all there is to checking those. So stay tuned. There'll be other situations coming. Okay, back to the grind. The contacts for the radio organ tone controls. You don't have to worry about getting them mixed up. They're unisexed. You can use one for either side. One thing I wanted to touch on, well, after you get them cleaned up and get all the tangs nice and spiffy, if you have a situation, and I've always ran across it with these, the eyelets are loosen up a little bit on the thing, and they jiggle around. Generally, it's the end contacts. Not so much in the middle, but some of the ones in the middle will get loose depending on how many times it's been worked on. The more heat you put on these things, the more the heat's at that joint, and it loosens a little bit each time. So what I found was, to tighten it up, get your little backer block or something like that that will fit in between the leaves like that, and set it down, and get you a center punch and put it in the eyelet, preferably on the side that's usually got the set. You can tell which side is gets the backer and which side gets the nails, the eyelets set. And so I use a center punch and a little weight and just give it a little tap like that. Just a little love tap, not too much, because you'll fracture the phenolic board if you hit it too hard. And then you can do that to the other side, and give it a little tap, and that'll snuggle those tangs up for you so that you can come back and do your little sandpaper cleaning of the contacts and everything, and get your tangs situated like you want to see them whenever you get ready to solder your wiring back in. So that's all I wanted to cover on that. So stay tuned. We'll have other crap coming your way.